Level 1. The student. You are 19 years old, and the airplane leaves the ground for the first time with only you inside it, and the sensation is nothing like being a passenger. As a passenger, the airplane is a bus with windows. As the pilot, the airplane is an extension of your hands and your decisions and your understanding of physics made real at 60 miles per hour down a runway. The wheels lift and the ground drops away, and you are alone in the sky for the first time, and the radio crackles and you respond and your voice sounds steadier than you feel. Your instructor signed you off for the solo after 12 hours of dual instruction. 12 hours of someone beside you correcting your inputs and talking you through the things the airplane was trying to tell you. Now, there is no one beside you. The right seat is empty. The weight difference is enough to change the trim slightly, and you notice it and adjust. And that noticing and adjusting is the entire job compressed into a single moment. You land. Not perfectly, adequately. The wheels touch, and you apply brakes, and you slow, and you turn off the runway, and you taxi back to the ramp, and you shut down the engine, and you sit in the quiet of the cockpit for a moment before you get out. Your instructor is waiting on the ramp. He shakes your hand. You have just become one of the small percentage of people who have ever flown an airplane alone. You will spend the next decade becoming qualified to do it with 200 people behind you. Level 2. The instructor. You had your commercial certificate, and your instrument rating, and your multi-engine rating, and 300 hours of flight time. The airlines want 1,000. 500. You need 1,000. 200 more hours, and the fastest way to get them is to teach other people how to fly while accumulating them. You become a certified flight instructor. You earn $25 an hour to sit in the right seat of a small airplane while a student does what you did 2 years ago. Learning the language of the airplane through repetition and correction, and the occasional moment of Gen U in fear that clarifies everything. You give the corrections your instructor gave you. You add the ones you wish someone had given you earlier. You discover that teaching flying is different from flying. Teaching requires you to articulate things your hands know instinctively, and the articulation deepens your understanding in ways that pure practice doesn't. You log hours. Every flight, at every hour, recorded in a logbook that is simultaneously a legal document and a personal history. Your logbook is the most accurate record of where you've been and what you've done that exists anywhere. At 500 hours, you start sending applications to regional airlines. At 1,000 hours, some of them respond. Level 3. The Regional First Officer. You are hired by a regional carrier that operates 70-seat jets under a major airlines brand. Your base salary is $42,000. You have $90,000 in flight training debt. You do the math, and then you stop doing the math because the math doesn't help, and the job is the job, and the job is the path, and the path leads somewhere better if you stay on it. You fly with captains who range from excellent to adequate, to two who are technically legal and practically exhausting. You learn from all of them. From the excellent ones, you learn what mastery looks like under pressure. From the adequate ones, you learn what habits form when nobody holds you accountable. You decide what kind of pilot you are going to be before the environment decides for you. The schedule is constructed by a seniority system that you are at the absolute bottom of. You fly the trips nobody senior wants. Holidays, red eyes, turns that depart at 5 a.m. and return at midnight. You are based in a city that is not your home city, which means you commute to work, flying standby on your days off to reach the base where your trips begin. You spend the night before early shows in a crash pad, a shared apartment near the airport used by pilots in the same situation, sleeping in a bunk bed like a college dormitory except the people in the other bunks are adults with professional licenses and mortgages. You fly 90 hours a month. The legal maximum is 100. You become precise about rest and nutrition and sleep in a way that your non-aviation friends find excessive and that the regulations made mandatory because fatigue is the variable that has appeared in accident reports for as long as aviation has had accident reports. Level 4, the regional captain. For years in, you upgrade to captain on the regional jet. 4 stripes on your shoulder boards and the legal authority and the responsibility that comes with them. Every decision in that cockpit is now yours. Your first officer is where you were 3 years ago, and you remember what you needed from the captains you flew with, and you try to be that. You handle your first serious situation in command. An engine indication that requires a decision about whether to continue to the destination or divert to an alternate. You run the checklist. You brief your first officer. You make the call. The outcome is textbook. The passengers don't know anything happened. That invisibility is the definition of the job done correctly. Level 5. The major airline. You are hired. The interview process took 8 months. A written technical exam, a simulator evaluation, a panel interview with questions designed to test your judgment in situations where the correct answer is not the obvious one. You pass. You report to training. The airplane is larger and more complex, and the training is the most technically demanding thing you've done since your original certification. You start over at the bottom of the seniority list. New hire first officer on a narrow-body domestic aircraft. Your salary resets to a major airline first officer scale, which is significantly better than the regional and still not reflective of the education and experience and responsibility the job requires. You are 31 years old, and you are starting over, and you are exactly where you want to be. Level 6. The international. You hold enough seniority to bid international routes, wide-body aircraft, oceanic crossings. Arrivals in cities you'll see only from a hotel window between duty periods. You fly across the Atlantic on instruments in the dark with 280 passengers and 8 crew members, depending on decisions you make in a cockpit at 37,000 feet. The weight of that is not something you carry consciously anymore. It is structural, built into how you do everything. You develop the particular relationship with time zones and sleep deprivation that long-haul flying produces. You land in London at dawn, having departed New York at 8 p.m., and your body knows it is 2 a.m. And the city outside the hotel window is fully operational and indifferent to your biology. You sleep until noon. You eat dinner at 4 p.m. You report for the return flight and do it again. Level 7. The captain. Wide-body captain. Senior enough to hold the routes you want, the schedules that work with your life, the aircraft you've invested years of seniority in learning to fly. You command aircraft worth $300 million alien, carrying passengers across oceans through weather systems the size of countries. You do it with the calm that comes from having done the hard version of every situation enough times that the calm is not performance. It is earned. Level 8. The check airman. You evaluate other pilots now. Simulator sessions, line checks, the formal assessment of whether someone is safe and legal and qualified to do what you do. You remember your own evaluations. You try to be rigorous and human simultaneously because both are required and neither alone is sufficient. Level 9. The final years. The mandatory retirement age is 65. It comes for everyone regardless of health or desire, or the fact that your medical is current and your simulator scores are strong and your judgment is as sound as it has ever been. The regulation does not negotiate. You know this going in. You plan for it, and the planning doesn't make the arrival easier. Level 10. The retired. You fly your last flight on a Tuesday. The crew knows. The passengers don't. You make the landing and the wheels touch, and you apply the brakes, and you slow, and you clear the runway, and you taxi to the gate, and you shut down the engines for the last time. The cockpit goes quiet. You sit in it for a moment longer than you need to. You gave 38 years to the sky. The sky gave you back something you still don't have the right words for. The view at dawn from 37,000 feet over the North Atlantic, with the sun coming up ahead of you and the clouds below you and the ocean between them and the airplane running perfectly and the first officer making coffee and the radio quiet for the first time in an hour. Somewhere right now, a 19-year-old is on a runway alone for the first time. The right seat is empty. The wheels are lifting. They have no idea where this goes. They'll find out. They always do. The cycle continues. Subscribe to stay with us. Every video is another level. And drop a comment below. Tell us what level you're at right now. We read every single one.